Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Well, you know my talk is titled Being Saved. And yeah, kind of a shocker, I know. I was surprised about the title too. But I'll tell you, it was kind of like Spirit was saying, you're going to do this talk. And I was like, no, that's not for me to do. Because I think most uni people can almost choke on the idea of being saved, can't we?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to do it. And I went into my computer this week because of all the stuff we had going on. Lynn becoming a member, the annual meeting, changing the songs for January because last week was the Burning Bull. So I was kind of cleaning it up and putting stuff in folders and everything. And I found this quote from Dynamics for Living, Charles Fillmore, and it went like this. This is the real spiritual meaning of being saved by Jesus Christ. The blood is the life. Now, I just about freaked out when I read that because I thought, Fillmore's saying the blood is life, but hold on. There's another line to this quote that kind of brings it back down to like, okay, now we're talking Fillmore. And here's the line. Jesus really came to bring the whole human family a larger consciousness of life. Yeah. Makes it sound a little better, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe? I don't know. But I thought it kind of was a good segue because we just celebrated Christmas and we were celebrating, the idea of life and new birth. That's what Jesus being born represents, the birth of our consciousness. So I thought, well, this all kind of segues together, the idea of life and the Christ within. And when you think about it, we know that we need blood to live, right? Physically, we need blood to live, to grow, to be all that we can be on a daily basis. And so I thought it was kind of a good analogy for the idea of our spiritual life because, we need the awareness of the life within us or the Christ within us, just like the blood, in order to spiritually be born, to spiritually grow, and to spiritually live in a higher consciousness. Won't you agree with me on that?
Yes.
So no matter what, we are life. No matter what, we can say that we have the blood of the Christ within flowing through us, right? And not get totally weirded out. And we know that God is life, and so that makes us the idea of life too. With or without blood, we are life, believe it or not. Even if we move from this physical existence, we say we are one with God. We say we are still experiencing life, just on a different level. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. So, much like the negative things that we have to release and things that we have to get rid of to find our highest good, and we did this last week with the burning bowl, we also have to have this belief about the idea of the life within us. And Fillmore shared this quote. Consequently, we believe that it was through the shedding, the getting rid of the idea of flesh and blood, that Jesus accomplished his great works. He tapped the great reservoir of divine life and raised his consciousness of life to that of God. And I thought about this for a moment because most of us don't really put God first, and most of us don't even really think about the idea that we are spiritual beings, every single moment of the day. We tend to live in this physical world with a physical life, and we're not thinking about that. But I was really fascinated with the idea of shedding the idea of flesh and blood. If we really didn't look at our life, our physical life, but just looked at our spiritual life, we would be shedding the idea of flesh and blood, and we would be living from that place. But it's so difficult in being in a physical body. It keeps kind of like pulling us back into that idea that we have to live from our human side rather than our spiritual side. But I think the idea of our spiritual life and divine life is something that we haven't even tapped into. None of us have lived at the level of spiritual consciousness that we have been given or that we are capable of. And I don't care who your sage is or who you think is so spiritually evolved. I guarantee you that person would even say, no, I'm not at the spiritual level I want to be at. I'm not in that consciousness all the time. And so what's pulling us back? It's that idea of the flesh and blood that pulls us back in. Now, if we can get to that awareness awareness where we're striving for a higher consciousness, I think we can start releasing the idea of our physicalness and live from that spiritualness and let that be our guide rather than being tethered to the idea of the human body or human being and human life. I really believe that humanity is longing. I mean, even through this whole COVID time and everything, I think it's a sign that humanity is longing for something more in life. And if you see some of the posts and stuff that are happening on social media, not the negative stuff, but the positive stuff, they're using terms like consciousness. They're using terms of positive. And I really think that there are people just desiring to live from a better place than where we've been living in the past. I mean, I think a lot of people have had this time to soul search. And whether or not they come through with that idea that there's something more for them, I still believe humanity is always searching for that. And so why shouldn't we be the ones to say, come and be saved with unity rather than being saved in the traditional way? Don't gag, don't choke, it's okay. But, we've all been around those people that want to stuff it down our throat. You have to be saved in order to be a Christian. And we know that that's not true. You know it in the pit of your stomach. You know it in the depths of your soul. You know that you having the right thinking makes a difference on whether or not you're going to express from that spiritual aspect, that we call Christianity. I mean, it's inevitable. We will express from there if we can hold that and see that. But I think the idea of being saved is a simple concept of self-acceptance into a newer way of living. Self-acceptance into a newer way of living. And it begins with looking at ourselves first and saying, hey, what words am I saying? What words am I sharing? How am I living? Like Lynn today. Everybody that I talked to in this last week and telling them that Lynn's coming into membership, they all said, oh, I thought she already was. Because she was living from that truth, the capital T truth, expressing from that truth within her. And so people automatically saw that within her. We don't have to tell anybody whether or not we've been saved or not. If we're living from that spiritual aspect of truth that we claim and know in unity, believe you me, everybody's going to want to be on your boat, paddling the same canoe, because they're going to see you living a prosperous and glorious life that we all deserve, that good that is ours to have. If we put God first and know that life itself exists, whether we physically exist or not, that's all we have to do. We are one with God, therefore we are continuous life. It doesn't matter if we have flesh or blood. All of us have loved ones that we know are sending us messages every once in a while. All of us have had the experience of having a message from God. That's continuous life with a capital L. Continuous life. Who doesn't want that? I want those little pokes every once in a while. I want those little messages coming through. I'd like them coming through all the time, wouldn't you?
Yes.
And that's what we have to do, is change our consciousness and be open to that idea. And when we put God first, how could we not be in that space? And all the messages will come flooding through us, and we will be living and doing magnificent things. Reverend Moore touched on this last week during the Burning Bowl a little bit about the idea that we're all connected through that oneness with God. And, I would even go on to say, if one person is hurting, we are all hurting. If one person is sad, we are all sad. We feel it. Intuitively, we can feel it. It's amazing how you kind of like sometimes will almost feel something from somebody before it even happens. I didn't know that my friend Beth, had cancer. And I was sending her messages about her mom, but she's an artist, and she was posting these different art, pieces of art. And I said, I've got some art in my office that's yours. Because she used to work for me, so she used to give me art as gifts. But it was kind of intuitively, it was like I was feeling her soul letting go, to the physical, to this world. And then when they said that she had made a transition, because I had no idea she had cancer, we had been, texting each other and stuff, because of her mom, but I never knew that she was making her transition at the same time. Mm-hmm. But I think that sometimes in that oneness, we are so connected that we feel, if we stay open to that idea of life beyond this physical beingness, that we are reaching out to other people sometimes without even knowing it. And I think that connection that we were having was another form of her release from the physical body into the oneness with God. And we all can experience that in a positive way and feel that if we are in that frame of mind. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So anyway, I think we all do feel the idea of the fluidity of life and it moving in and through us and how it is affecting all of us, whether we are aware of it or not. Whether we know somebody has something or somebody doesn't, we see health for them. We see the good in them when we keep moving forward. And when something like that happens, yeah, we're stunned, but at the same time, it's like you kind of knew. You kind of knew. I think that's God coming through. And I think that's that idea of being saved without somebody stuffing it down your throat. Do you know? I think her connection with God was so strong in those last few moments that those messages she was sending me was just that essence of God saying, thank God, and we have to be open to those. Well, I found a couple things this week besides that quote. Another one was this I had saved from Olive Grace. She had reposted it on Facebook, and it's a little story. And I just think it shows the innocence of the idea of the oneness of God moving in and through us. And it goes like this. An anthropologist invited the children from an African tribe to play one game. He placed a basket of fruit near the tree and announced, addressing the children, the one of you who reaches the tree first will be rewarded with all the sweet fruits. When he signaled to the children to start the race, they locked their hands tightly and ran together. And then they all sat together and enjoyed the delicious fruit. Isn't that awesome? Mm-hmm. The astonished anthropologist asked the children why they all ran together, because each of them could have enjoyed the fruit for himself. And the children said, "Oh, Bonato, is it possible for one to be happy if everyone else is sad?" Oh, Bonato in their language means I exist because we exist. Isn't that beautiful? Mm-hmm. And that's actually another game they play with their feet in the middle. And I don't know what the game is, but that was a cool picture of them, I thought. Anyway, I exist because we exist. I exist because we exist. Mm-hmm. Isn't that powerful? Yes, it is. We grow because others grow. We succeed because others succeed. Absolutely. How many times have you seen somebody successful and then you dissed them? You said, oh, God, they think they're all that because they got that. Or, oh, look, they've got a boat and a yacht and a beach house or whatever. Oh, yeah, they just are, blah, blah, blah. No, if somebody else is successful, we should be happy for them. Because we can all be successful in whatever we do. And if you come to that idea of living from that spiritual life of yours, you will be happy for everybody else's good that happens to them. Celebrate their good. Your good's going to keep coming forth too. Amen. We are being saved because others are being saved. And that's the truth. Don't you love it when one of your friends asks you about something that you do or something that seems spiritual, or maybe they just wonder why you're happy all the time or why you're so positive or why, where'd you learn that? I'll tell you what, you get in a group of people and it'll be dinner time or lunchtime or something, and you say, oh, can we say a prayer first? Use the prayer for protection, and everybody will want a copy of it. I'm not kidding you. There is so much power in that prayer, and it's just kind of an opening and a segue to share the idea of truth, of capital T truth with other people without stuffing it down their face. Yeah. But anyway, if we want to grow spiritually, we all have to grow spiritually. You know, the idea of being saved in unity doesn't really match up to the other denominations' idea of being saved, right?
Right.
You know, and that's okay. We have our own idea. I mean, and maybe all those pushy denominations that want to stuff it down your throat, maybe they've just taken this to the extremes. They're not understanding the idea that Fillmore explained in the beginning, that it is that idea of letting loose of the body, of your physical self, and realizing that you are more than the physical being that you are. That first and foremost, you are a spiritual being. Not this, you know, not Francie or not Judith or not Marion, not Becky, not Jim. You know, you are that spiritual being first and foremost. Well, I just think they do. I think they've just taken some of this Bible and some of the concepts literally too far. Jesus said, "I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." That means that we all are supposed to have an abundant life. We all are supposed to live from that abundance of God, whether it shows up in material form or we just excel in our consciousness and abundantly live from that idea of all the good that is there for us. John 10:10. So I must ask, what kind of life do you have? Or what kind of life do you want?
Abundant.
Huh?
Abundant.
Oh, you're answering the question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. I was thinking, what are you saying abundant? I thought you were saying I spelled something wrong. No, that's good. You got to say it out loud, though, with an affirmation in your voice.
Abundant!
There you go. So what kind of life do you have and what kind of life do you want?
Abundant.
There you go. That'll work. You know, we have to think about that thing. I mean, because it's up to us. Thoughts held in mind. We all know that basic unity principle. Thoughts held in mind. You know, and the thing is, I think these are questions that we should think about and pray about. And maybe we have to do it every day. Maybe we have to reawake our mind every morning. You know, there's some mornings I wake up and I'm thinking, oh, if I could just sleep till 10. Of course, then one of those little guys come in and say, Mom, kisses, let me up in bed, whatever. But you change your perspective of the world in that moment. You know, you say, hey, yeah, come on, or come on, give me kisses, or whatever. And you wake up in a different way. Well, that's what we have to do every day of our life. We have to wake up in a new frame of mind. You know, even if we're grumpy or sad or angry, any of those things, we have to stop and ask ourselves some questions to get out of that frame of life. We don't want to live in that life of being sad, grumpy, angry, any of that. So we can ask ourselves, why don't I like something? You know, is it something that will directly affect me? If it's something that's not going to directly affect you, then I say, I don't like to use the S word, I call it, shut up. But shut up and move on, you know? Don't sit there and wallow in it. Is it something I can tolerate or put up with for this moment? If something's irritating you in this moment, just tell yourself it's a moment. The next moment, you don't have to live like that. We have to tell ourselves these and coach ourselves, the physical self, through this stuff and get beyond. And then ask yourself, am I just reacting out of past experience or some hidden issue within me? Because if your life is not the way it needs to be, and you are upset, or you are angry, or you are struggling, then there's something underlying that whole current that you need to pull up and say, ooh, I need to change my thinking about that, or release it, go back to the burning bull, throw it away, throw it in a fire, whatever you need to do to free yourself from that burden. Or am I reacting because I allow it to bother me? Because sometimes we just think little annoyances can bother us. I'm one of those kind of people. You know, somebody sitting there going like this. Nobody start doing it during my service, please. But if somebody's sitting there clicking something like this, it just can drive me crazy sometimes. And I have to tell myself, do not go there. You know? I do. How many other people have these little annoyances, things? Somebody smacking gum. Please don't anybody smack gum. I'm giving myself away. But those kind of things can sometimes just send me over the edge, you know? And it's like, why am I letting that affect my peace, my own frame of mind? We don't have to go there. We can live from that idea of perfect life. But I always say, if any of this stuff is bothering you, just stay home in bed. You get used to that anyway right now with COVID. I think so many of us have gotten into that state of mind where we think, oh, well, I'll just stay here. I've got all my little things the way I want them. Nobody's bothering me, and I can just stay in my little house and not have to deal with anybody. But that's not life either, is it?
No.
No, we have to be willing to communicate with those. We have to be able to do our part to move on, We must remind ourselves of the simple word obanato. I exist because we exist. That's my 2019 or 18 collage of people. But it's true. Everybody here at Unity East needs to think about, I exist because we exist. We are all here together. Well, I have another little story for you. And this one Dee Dee had reposted on her Facebook page, and I saved it. And I thought, oh my gosh, here's another one. And this one I really love too. But it's about us looking at the oneness of who we are and how we work together. And it goes like this. A member of the church who previously had been attending services regularly stopped going after a few weeks. The pastor decided to visit him. It was a chilly evening. The pastor found the man at home alone, sitting before a blazing fire. Guessing the reason for his pastor's visit, the man welcomed him in, led him to a comfortable chair near the fireplace, and waited. The pastor made himself at home, but said nothing. In the grave silence, he contemplated the dance of the flames around the burning logs. They sat there. After some minutes, the pastor took the fire tongs, carefully picked up a brightly burning ember, and placed it to one side of the fireplace and to the hearth all alone. Then he sat back in his chair, still silent. The host watched all this in quiet contemplation as one lone ember's flame flickered and diminished. There was a momentary glow, and then its fire was no more. Soon it was cold and dead, sitting on the side of the hearth. Not a word had been spoken since the initial greeting. The pastor glanced at his watch and realized, well, it's time for me to leave. He slowly stood up, picked up the cold, dead ember, and placed it back in the middle of the fire. Immediately, it began to glow, once more with the light and warmth of the burning coals around it. As the pastor reached the door to leave, his host said, with a tear running down his face, "Thank you so much for your visit, and especially for the fiery sermon. I will be back in church next Sunday."
That's very good.
That was a good one.
We live in a world today which tries to say too much with too little. Consequently, few listen. Sometimes the best sermons are the ones left unspoken. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
So I invite you to remember that we need each other. To enjoy our life and to enjoy it abundantly, we need each other. And to be saved, we need each other. Thank you for being here today. God bless you. I love it. All right, here's your song. It's you know this one, you've seen it before, but this is a new video of it. But it's called Stand Together, Faith Rivera, Harold Payne. If you want to sing along, you can.
Something great is happening. Love is taking all that won't let it go of now. Something here is called forward, upward motion. Drops in one ocean. Hold on. Will you rise up with me today? Lift up your voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. In the dream of your highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together.
our theme song.
One word.
Yep, that was when it first came out, wasn't it? That song. Yep.
It was.
All right, it's time for our love offering. Come here, love.
And so, are you offering me now? Well, anyway, let's
You
just,
share the love freely, I know
Thank
you do.
all right, let's say this together. Divine
Love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful.
Amen.
Come on, Cat, come sing. Bill, play.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
And we are blessed beyond measure, knowing that each one of us here has the Spirit within them to have the abundance of all, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Kat. You know, that wasn't painful, was it? Some of you were probably worried about that being saved thing. I was making jokes last week about having the baptismal up here. And we didn't dump Lynn, but she could have been our first. She says, okay.
He says next week. Next week.
All right. So next week's message is...
Well, you said during this week's lesson that some of them are best unsaid, so I guess we'll stand up here and
I've been waiting all
we'll
week.
look at each other.
That's a good title. I've been waiting all week.
There you go.
I might have to use that one.
There you go.
You don't know.
It's yours. Go for it.
It's time for the kids. Get up here.
We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God.
Where are they? They must be in the middle of something. You know, they're doing lessons now in youth church. Yes, they've been doing them through Advent, and they did their version of Burning Bowl. If you go in the classroom, there's like a tape web type thing in the corner. So they took their negative things and they like biting or hitting or innocent, and they threw them at the web. So I don't know what they're going to do. Let's see. Hey guys. Come on over.
Mask
What you got, JW? What you got on you? Is that your necklace?
tag.
Oh, it's a name tag. Good job.
Put it all on her.
Come on over here, Miss Jackie. Okay, so what did you guys do in school today in youth church?
What?
You did what?
God.
Oh, God. You did?
You did God? You did God today?
What else did you do? You did the prayer of faith? What else did you do, Miss Jackie?
Well, we have to read the story of Noah and Nard.
Oh,
And since they kept asking questions, I watching the cartoon on YouTube.
very good.
You did a bowl?
Oh, good. You got a special treat. So good. That's good. Noah's Ark. So you guys want to know anything about Noah's Ark, just ask them.
Because it's about a boat, correct? Yes. That's what he told me. We learned about a boat.
There you go.
Good job, Debbie.
That's good. JW, that makes it hard for Miss Cat to hold you when you do that. You know you went to the doctor this week and you weighed 30 pounds.
Oh,
Whoa.
Oh, too heavy. It's too heavy.
30-pound package stack of tape.
Well, you're 42 pounds. Thank you, Miss Jackie.
I can't
old
Hey,
boots.
And look at her birthday present.
Oh,
Birthday.
Those,
Oh,
were
yeah.
you here last week, Sandy?
No.
Oh, you missed. We showcased her up here and showed off her boots to the
So
whole.
who else has a January birthday?
They're beautiful.
No, right here, but I'm sure there's somebody that's watching, so let's see.
Well, Jessie does, and so does
They're
Sandra, your
gorgeous.
sister.
Yes.
Both have January birthdays. And
All
so does
right.
Beth. Beth's birthday was anyway, here we go. Well, let's sing happy birthday anyway.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear loved ones.
Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you. You are wonderful. God is blessing you now. Right. Okay. Time to say the prayer of protection.
We have our board meeting, our annual meeting right after service, so
Yes.
everybody will stay around. Y'all on Facebook, if you have an email or something for, your Zoom, then you can Zoom in if you want to.
Yes, we're not doing the annual meeting on Facebook Live. We are doing it through Zoom if you can't be here. So, if you should have got that in your emails through
If you
the
didn't-
wellness prayer team.
If you didn't get it, then get on the phone and get with Judy.
Yes, and she will hook you up
All right,
with the code.
Sure will.
All right,
very good.
we ready?
Let's say it.
The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Amen.
And the prayer of faith, God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. God walks beside me, guides my way, through every moment, night and day. I am wise, I am true, patient, kind, and loving too. All things I am can do and be, through Christ the truth that lives in me. God is my health, I can't be sick. God is my strength, unfailing quick. God is my all, I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. Amen. Sing. Direction of the annual meeting, and we hope to see you next week, and sending you sending you kisses, sending you lots of love. Everybody sending their love.